Some people can't handle success. I can.
Okay, for real though, that's not what I did. This video would have been like 12 seconds long if I did that, and I'm not part about that life. I'm making this thing hard, and honestly, why was it so hard to make? Like, please help me answer this question. It's a game about literally nothing. Like, I don't get it. If you guys want to playtest the game, link is in the description below. Patreon page is also there if you want to support us. But let's get right into the process. So before we get right into the process, I wanted to take some time and ask how you beautiful people are doing today. This last week, I really wanted to make a game and finish it in about a week just to have something done to start off 2021. So I toyed around with some themes, ideas, and mechanics, and none of them really stood out as much as making a game about literally nothing. You might think this sounds extremely clickbaity, and well, you're kind of not wrong. It's technically impossible to make a game about nothing because then you would literally do what the intro did. So the way I went about making a game about nothing is that I took it as a theme and I centered the game around this idea about nothing. So honestly, to better understand what I'm talking about, we gotta know what nothing means. Okay, to better understand the theme, let's ask Siri what she thinks nothing means. Hey Siri, what does nothing mean? Hey Siri, what does nothing mean?
As a pronoun, it means not anything, no single thing. Do you want to hear the next one?
No. Okay, so that wasn't awkward at all, but you heard her, not a thing, not a single thing. I'm pretty sure that's what she said. If you really care, go back in the video and listen. I don't know how good that actually ended up in the video, but I mean, that's the best I could do, so let's get right into it. So with that definition in mind, I had a few ideas on what the game could be. Well, honestly more like thoughts. I knew I wanted the game to look super minimalistic and I wanted the gameplay to be fun but somewhat difficult. And I kind of ran out on ideas other than that, so basically I got the beginning of a game jam, but like, what's new? But like, on a low-key note, how am I supposed to make a game about literally nothing? Oh, what did I get myself in?
In life, there will be roadblocks. On my last snap, that's what you call a roadblock, but we will overcome it.
So I walked into this challenge thinking I was gonna breeze through it and make a video in about a week. Long story short, the game took me about a week because who would have thought making a game about nothing would be difficult? A lot of people told me it was a bad idea. I did not listen to a single person who said it was a bad idea. Like, I should have listened to them and like made a mobile game back like 2 years ago instead of... Man, I made a lot of bad decisions. Anyway, getting right into the development of the game, the first thing I had to do was get a player moving. That's kind of the easy part. I decided on doing a platformer type of game, and hopefully as I developed the basic movement, something would hopefully come to me. And well, I was kind of right. Something did come to me, but it wasn't the main mechanic I was hoping for. The first idea of many I had was to attach colorful balls to the player and you would start the game with nothing attached. There would be other characters calling you nothing and there would be a story and they would basically say you'll never be anything, and I swear this is not on a personal story, I promise you guys, no one has ever called me nothing in my life, I promise. But as you progress through the game, you would start collecting these balls, but as you collect them, the weight of the balls would slowly start to suffocate you and not let you jump as high. Sounds oddly specific. And at the end, it would be a story about having nothing might be better than having too much. So that first idea was very interesting. It would be emotional, it would be fun, it would be engaging, but like, I would have to write a story. I haven't written a story other than the ones I have to do for my test in school probably in my entire life. So you know what? The idea, we're not doing it. Let's find
Another one. Another one. Another one.
One mechanic that really stuck with me through this idea was the idea of balls. Okay, before I get demonetized, Let me explain. I really liked having the idea of having these balls attached to you by some sort of chain or a rope and making them physics based. I actually ended up implementing this system into the project, hoping just more ideas would kind of like trickle in as I continued to make this simple mechanic. And trickle did they come. I don't know where I was trying to segue. But anyways, the next idea was actually from my brother. After talking to him and bouncing some ideas back and forth, he said to make a game an artistic piece. Make the balls be able to color the map as you move through it, and honestly, I love that idea. I added a trail renderer to the spheres and I made it so that they never disappear, and well, it worked pretty well. But just leaving it like that wouldn't be so fun, and it wouldn't be really a game. It would literally be an art piece, and I kind of wanted to mix the two together. I felt like I kept losing the idea of having the game centered around nothing, so I had to sit back and think a bit. Okay, so let's do some recapping, and this is kind of important, so the headset is coming off. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyways, so right now we have a small ball being attached to 3 bigger balls using some ropes. And those bigger balls are emitting a trail as they move around that paint the background. That's really all. Like, we don't have any gameplay mechanics, so we gotta figure that stuff out now. I also just realized, what is my obsession with balls? I have made so many games with a lot of balls. And I make jokes about a lot of balls. And though it's about game dev, this isn't a really good start. I was really hoping that the main mechanic would come to me as I slept, because honestly I was losing a ton of motivation working on this project. I couldn't think of any fun mechanics around nothing, and it was just killing me. In addition, I really wanted to get back to Windshire. I have some awesome updates I want to implement, but this comes first, so let's get this finished up. So after throwing around some ideas with my brother, we got on the subject about no platforms. And when you really stop and think, no platforms literally means nothing, and like basically the correlation coefficient is like 3. I never passed algebra. And the other part of the game would force you to draw your own platforms and really get you in the mindset of conserving your ink, because you would only have the start and the end point and you would have very limited ink. I loved this idea and I tweaked it until I felt like it was a fun game, but like it just seemed way too similar to a already existing game called Line Runner, and I didn't want to just copy that idea because copying's not cool, kids. As I continued to tweak, and I realized that there's a couple of things I could change to differentiate it from Line Runner, and that would be when you hold down left click, the trails would come from the balls attached to you and they would become walkable platforms. I really like this idea because you would have to time the spheres perfectly as you jump to make good solid platforms you can stand on, but I tried messing around and implementing this mechanic for honestly longer than I should have, but I just wanted to see this mechanic come to life and it was just not very interesting to play, and overall tweaking the mechanic to make it fun would be difficult because the ball's trail always comes out at a different angle. Waking up that morning, I hopped back onto the project and just jumped around for a little bit, just trying to think of a fun mechanic. Then all of a sudden it kind of jumped at me, literally. I was having a ton of fun playing the game just how it was, and when I added in these spheres, I had some foresight and made it so you are considered grounded and you're able to jump when you're touching these spheres. And this gave me a really good idea. What if you use these balls as a sort of platform that you would be able to jump off of? And when I went to test it out, it was honestly extremely fun and, more importantly, very challenging. So I guess it was pretty ironic that the mechanic was just sitting in front of me the entire time, but I'm glad we managed to get the no platforms idea in and implemented as well as the other mechanic I wanted. So after getting the main mechanic all fleshed out and just getting it all to work properly, it's finally time to add in some game juice. The first thing I wanted to do was add in an effect that would play when you are jumping. This would give the player some feedback and just make the game look a lot better. So using Unity's particle system, the best particle system I have ever used that allows you to create fun and interesting particles quickly, I was able to throw this together, and well, it doesn't look the best, but hopefully I'll make it better later. I hope. So one point I really struggled at for a moment was deciding on whether to break the theme and make the game a beginner friendly experience, or just toss them into a level with nothing in it and let them fend for themselves. You see, I feel like if I just toss them in, many people might not actually play the game because they're like, what am I supposed to do? So I guess we have to break the theme. So for the first few levels, it slowly becomes less and less platforms until there's literally 0 platforms. I thought this was a good balance between keeping the player engaged and letting the beginners feel success because they're noobs, and noobs gotta feel good sometimes. With that all being decided on, let's make some levels. So making some super basic levels and adding in more and more spheres attached to the player, I slowly pushed them into, well, the deep end, because at the very end, where there's literally nothing, so you know, you kind of just have to yoink them into the pool. So with about 10 levels made, I was running out of ideas and thought, well, I guess 10 will be good. So from there on, it was time to do some more polishing and get the game ready for release. The first thing I did for polish was something I always ended up skipping during game jams, and this is sound. Sound adds so much more to your game, and just not having any definitely makes a large impact on the experience. As I can tell, it was definitely because of no sound that this game placed like 906th. I promise. So following some good old Brachy's tutorial, I got some basic sound in, got some awesome audio to go along with the game. I kept it minimum and didn't use music because that was definitely a design decision rather than me not wanting to make music. And boom, it's literally in, and easy as that. The next effect I wanted to do was adding a nice landing particle. Again, I did some basic tweaking with the Unity particle system, so it wasn't too difficult at all. And all that's left is adding in some post-processing, changing up the jump particle, and that's really it. So after getting the people to playtest the game, all I have to do is add a nice little logo and itch page and do some art for it and just make it look pretty. So I'll see you guys after I get that all done. So now, with all of this in, this is how the final itch page looks like. It isn't perfect by any means, but for a short project, I think it looks pretty nice. I love the game header, it really pops out of the page, and I love how it sticks to the minimalistic idea I had for the project. With the itch page published and ready to be played, let's talk about the game. I know technically it's not a game about nothing because it technically is something, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. It's really hard to make a game literally about nothing without adding something to that game, and I mean, I guess that's what a game is it's something. So I guess it was a pretty fun challenge overall, and I would definitely do this again in the future if I can think of any more interesting ideas for a game about nothing. But before we end off this video, I wanted to challenge every single one of you watching this video right now to try and make a game about nothing. It's harder than you think, and just because I did it, you saw the struggles I went through, it is not an easy thing to do. And I don't want to just challenge you guys, but go to your favorite content creators, share this video around. I want to see if they're able to make a game about nothing, or if they just scrubs at programming, because like, come on, you can't make a game about nothing? Anyways, with all of this being said, the next video will be a Windshire devlog. That's a few weeks away though. Not too long, but definitely more than a week away, just because we want to get some extra progress done and ready and just have more to talk about in the next devlog. And with all of that being said, Check out the description for the game and our Patreon page if you want to support us. They're able to get us these awesome new setup, and it just makes the devlogs look 100 times better. So if you want to support us or the channel, go down in the description below and check out that Patreon page. And with that all being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.